My name is Kimberly, if we haven't met before. I'm the head of customer success here at ZonGuru, and you've got me today to guide you through all things reviews. Now, reviews is a bit of a dry topic, but super important. But we'll also have a lot of time at the end for Q&A, and that Q&A can be on absolutely anything. So let me jump in. Just move my screens to today's topic. Here we go. Now, without stating the obvious, reviews are super important. Amazon loves reviews. If you're selling already, you'll notice that the second that you get a 5-star review especially, you'll probably experience a little bit of a jump in your sales. They really want to make sure that customers are getting the best experience possible. So a 5-star review is really confirmation of that, and you will start ranking a lot higher. So as sellers, it's super important that we get those high reviews and lots of them if we can on our listings. So I know as a buyer, on the flip side, it's also something that I look at when I'm purchasing online. So I'm buying more and more things online, and I'm realizing that I do rely on those reviews. And the stats show that 92% of online consumers do look at those. So I'm definitely in that category. I don't know about everyone else in the audience, but I'll always do a quick little scan of what's there. And surprisingly, only about 10% of shoppers consistently leave reviews when they buy something, which can be a bit of a worry, because if we think about the human psyche, we're more inclined to leave feedback if something is either very positive or very negative. So we're going to fall on two ends of the spectrum there. So we want to make sure that it's the very positive that buyers are leaving feedback for, and obviously catching any issues where we can, where it may not be so great. So let's lighten it up a little bit. Like I said, it is a dry topic. Hopefully I can get some smiles. These are some super, super funny reviews that I did find when I was doing some research. People do have a sense of humor out there. This one did get 5 stars, but if we have a look at the heading, they've written, "Hope it'd be crap, the Kindle would slip out and electrocute her." So someone bought this for their mother-in-law, but it worked amazing. I thought that was, there's some people with some very, very funny sense of humor out there. And it just shows that, reviews are more than meets the eye sometimes. And then we've got another one, which is a horse head mask. Don't know why someone would want to buy a horse head mask, but it's on there. Hey Beck, hey Pa, we've got some more people coming in. Good to see the familiar names popping up. So this one here, 5 stars again, saved my life. I'll let you read through the actual comment that they've made there. But, if you ever have 10 minutes spare, you can't sleep or whatever, just Google funny Amazon reviews. They are hilarious. So let's get actually stuck into... Yes, Brian, there is I can definitely send you these slides as well. I'll just jot the name. I'll get those ones out to you. So how do you increase your review count? I wish there was a silver bullet, some trick or hack that I could tell you that would automatically get this happening. Unfortunately, just like with most things on Amazon, it takes strategy, hard work, and time. So the first thing you want to do, and I know it's stating the obvious, is make a great product. You're going to be chasing your tail if you don't have a great product, putting out fires as those bad reviews come in, whether it's about quality or whatever it might be. At the start, make sure that your product is great and that what you're saying it actually is. So I know I've fallen into this trap before with your listing. State the obvious. What might be super, super clear to you may not be clear to your buyer. So if your product has 2 in it, clearly state that it has 2 in it. If your product requires assembly, state that on there. Make sure that it is clear as day so that when they're ordering it and it gets delivered, they're not suddenly surprised thinking, oh, I ordered a soccer ball and it's not inflated already. That you'll get negative feedback from that despite your best attempts. So that's super important as well. And create an unboxing experience. So just think about the last thing that you purchased that you were really impressed with. Did it come in nice packaging? Was it a beautiful box? Did it have a thank you note in there? Was there something about it that made you go, oh, this is awesome. I really resonate with this brand. They've gone that extra mile. It might cost you an extra $1 on your manufacturing, but it can pay off 5 times that on the other end, whether it's through reviews, word of mouth, repeat sales, creating somebody who's loyal to your brand. It's worth putting that extra effort into your packaging. So great, we've got some more people jumping on. Hey, Terrence. I'm just monitoring the chat as well, so if you do have questions, drop it in there. But the few ways that you can actually increase your review count, the most popular one now for new launches is the Vine program. Now, they did have what was called an early review program, where you could essentially, if you basically, Amazon would incentivize buyers to leave a review, but that's been canned. You can't do that anymore, but we do have the Vine program. And that allows you to basically give away your products. So it only costs you the manufacturing cost of your product to these that you have to be invited into the Vine program to leave reviews. If you consistently give great reviews, you're shopping on Amazon and giving that quality feedback, you'll be invited to become a Vine reviewer, and you get the opportunity to be given a product and review it. So if you're a seller, you can submit your products into the Vine program. You can do this to gather up to 30 reviews. So if you're a new launch and you've already got 10 reviews under your belt, you can only then give away 20 products. It caps out at that 30 review mark. And it's only available to brand registered sellers. The thing I would mention here is Vine reviewers can typically be a little bit harsher than your standard reviewer. They take that badge quite seriously. If they're consistently giving out 5-star reviews across the board, Amazon can think that they're being biased or it's not a quality, honest review. So they are quite particular in how they hand those 5 stars out and what they say. So it's definitely not a 100% guarantee that if you give these 30 products out for 30 reviews, they're all going to be great. They do tend to be a little bit harsher. But if you've got a great product, your listing's accurate, and you've got a great unboxing experience, then everything's on your side. So the other thing you can do is product inserts. And you've probably heard this a million times, but honestly, they are so helpful. So when you're creating a product insert, I suggest taking a step back, having a think about your brand, have a think about who's going to be buying your brand. Make it eye-catching, but consistent with your branding. You don't want just a generic little piece of paper in there with, please leave a review. Use language that works with them. So if you're selling it to, a young female who's into yoga, use language that's really going to connect with them, colors that they're going to relate to. There's so much psychological, marketing little tacks and things that you can pop in, show appreciation. So, thank you, and say a little bit about yourself maybe. We're a mum and dad seller from Queensland or something like that. We're so thankful that you found our product. Make sure that when you request a review that it remains neutral. That's really important. And, if there's any issues with your order, we can be reached here. We want to put a smile back on your face. Contact us here for a fix, whatever it might be. But also create an opportunity for them to connect with you in other ways. So whether that's through social, something that has worked really well that I've heard and used personally is, I've used the example here, tag us, use your new yoga mat in action at Yoga is Life. Just an example there. Not only will you get great content for your socials, depending on what your product is, but you will then have use that customer list that you can remarket to, and you can remarket to them without Amazon interfering if they're following you on socials, you don't have to adhere to the terms of service that Amazon has. It's a different medium. It's a different connection point with them. If you've got a new product out, you can, you've got that audience there that you can engage with straight away. It's going to create so much opportunity, especially as you increase your brand and your reach. So the next, my keyboard's dropping in and out. The next thing, and this is just a no-brainer, everybody should be doing this, and that is using Review Automator. It's set and forget. So all you need to do is click the button. It's now contained in the ZonGuru platform. You don't need to log into Sell Essential. You don't need to set your calendar reminder to do it each month. You literally jump into ZonGuru, click the on button, and it gets to work for you. And it's 100% terms of service compliant. So that means there is never a risk that you're going to be pulled up from Amazon for using the wrong language, for being too persuasive. It's literally, this is what they receive. It's even branded with Amazon. So, it's coming straight from them. And it's smart enough, the tool's smart enough to skip any pending or refunded orders. So it's not going to send it to somebody who's requested a refund. So you're more likely to get those quality 5-star reviews. It also sends it at the most beneficial time for the buyer, and it's going to really get to work for you. So there's, as you probably know, Amazon does request reviews for orders, but I wouldn't solely rely on that. It's, I know personally when I buy things, sometimes I don't get those. I don't know if it's going to my spam or where it ends up. But, I wouldn't rely on that. Their timing is also a little off if you're relying on Amazon to do that for you. And by setting the Review Automator, you're getting that second shot. You're not missing any opportunities to gather those reviews. So super important, and definitely something that I would look at doing. So like I said at the start, there's no magic way to get this to start working for you. So if you're thinking of doing a launch, consider the Vine program, but only if you have absolute confidence in your product. And it is the cost of your manufacturing, so it's not a big outlay. And then from there, make sure you've got your product inserts. Amazon can review what you include in your package, so make sure that you're not contributing in terms of service there. You need to make sure it's a neutral request that you're doing. And then obviously get that Review Automator to work. And you'll see that though they start coming in, it does work. But what happens when you get a bad review? Let me know if anyone's had a terrible review that's come in. It does cause a little bit of pain, and it does happens to the best of us. So the first thing I would say is, if you do get a bad review, I know when I've had them in the past, it's, the first thing is you want to jump up and down and, you didn't read the instructions right, or you're using it wrong, or, it must have broken in the shipping, or whatever it might be. But, have a calm, clear head, maybe take some time to reflect on it. Is what they're saying an opportunity to improve your listing? Have you not explained something properly? Is there an issue with your manufacturing process? Is there something that you can learn from here to make sure that you come out of it a better seller? Because it's not, the journey's never finished. You're continually learning, continually tweaking. Maybe it's something that you can incorporate into your next product. There's got to be something that you learn from that feedback, whether it's that the customer didn't understand the product and you need to explain it better, or that, there's a problem with how it's packaged, whatever it might be, take that on board. So the second thing to do is check if it violates terms of service. So there's a whole different range of reasons why it could violate terms of service, because terms of service aren't just there to make sure that the sellers stay in check, it's there for the buyers as well. So buyers can't leave feedback for things on shipping or late delivery or anything to do with that if you're using FBA, because that's all managed by Amazon. Amazon will very quickly remove any reviews that are left relating to that. So that's the first point of call. Of course, if they're being abusive, if they're using personal information or anything like that, again, you can have it removed fairly quickly. Something that happens quite often is that reviewers get confused between seller feedback and product reviews. So buyers are given the opportunity to leave both types of feedback. If they're leaving feedback on your customer service, your brand, your business, that can be classified as seller feedback. When they get confused, you can also have it removed. Of course, you can't leave multiple bad reviews from the same buyer. And if they're trying to steer people away to separate links, or if it's from a competitor or something like that, that's definite no. So if you see that any reviews violate any of that, straight away, you can have those taken down. And, if there's any gray area there, always try. Because it can make a big difference having those reviews removed. So the other thing you can do is try and reach a solution with the customer, but you have to be very careful when you're doing this. You're purely doing it to help the customer, not for the end goal of asking them to change their review. You cannot ask them you can't manipulate that. If they have a great experience, once something's resolved, hopefully they take that step on their own to change that. And it's good business practice anyway to make sure that the customer's happy. They'll tell other people, it will come back around. So you can contact them, maybe offer a replacement, give them extra information on how to use the product. Depending on what the issue is, it can be as simple as, I'm sorry this happened, can we offer a replacement? That might be enough to find a solution there. But my biggest tip here is that it really is a numbers game. The longer that you're selling on Amazon, the less you will be impacted by the bad reviews, because the more positive reviews on the board, the less it will play into your averages. So Julie, you can contact a customer. You've just asked how you contact a customer through buyer-seller messaging on Seller Central. So there's a few different reasons why you can. You have to be very careful how you contact customers. Again, you can't be persuasive in terms of please change your review. None of that's allowed, but you can contact them if there is a reason to complete their order, to offer a refund, anything like that, to give them a product manual, something like that. You can definitely reach out to your customers. And it's through the Amazon interface. So they won't see your personal email address, and you won't be able to see theirs. It's all through the Amazon platform. So Amazon can see exactly what's being said. So just be very careful about your approach. You don't want to be going, not that you would, but you don't want to be going in saying, I saw you left a negative review. Will you change it if I give you this? It's just straight away. You can't do that. But with the numbers, what I was saying is the more reviews you have on the board, the less impact those negative ones are going to have on your listing. And what you can do is upvote the positive ones. So you'll notice on this example here, there's a little helpful button. If you get a great review come through, click on that as much as you can, get other people to click on that as much as you can. You're telling Amazon that that's a really great review. It helped you with your decision. It will move it up so that that's the first one people see. And of course, if you've got one that's been voted as helpful and one that's maybe 2 stars that hasn't been voted as helpful, the good one will bump up and the bad one will slowly creep down the page. So that would definitely be something I would be doing. And if the review has breached terms of service, clicking on the report abuse button here is your first step to getting that taken down. If you don't get any action there, it's going through the usual seller support way. But personal experience, I've had an issue in the past where for whatever reason, I had a whole bunch that weren't delivered by Amazon. I was using FBA. Some negative reviews came through about the product not being delivered. Clicking on this, it was resolved within an hour. It was actually a really nice experience. Amazon's not known for their great customer support for sellers, but I was very impressed with how that button worked. So I've just seen a question from Brian. Does the review automator only start with new sales, or is there a way to go back? Great question. So with Review Automator, it will go back. So it will go back as far as terms of service allow. And again, I keep saying the word terms of service because it's so interlinked with reviews. It will go back approximately 30 days. So if you switched it on today, you'll be able to capture most of April. So definitely recommend switching that on. And like I said, once it's switched on, it's on until you decide to switch it off. So it really is a no-brainer and no excuse for not having that one on. But that's a short and sweet intro into reviews. I am here for any questions. Doesn't need to be about reviews. Beck, absolutely, I can send these handouts through to you. If anyone else would like them, just drop a comment into the box. But otherwise, I'm here to answer any questions you've got, or hear about your reviews, if you've had any horror stories or any positive ones or any tips. I know that they're super, you're so grateful when those good ones come through with the photos attached. You know, they can make all the difference. Especially when you're starting out, having that social proof behind you can make the world of difference. Thanks for the kind words, Beck. And more handouts. Yes, no worries. So I'm just writing down some names for the people that would like the handouts. No problem. I've always relied on the early review program for my launch, and I recently went through a launch after that program ended, and I noticed a big difference in how easy it was to gather those initial ones, because when you're just launching, getting that social proof behind you can be so important, and also frustrating when you see the black hat tactics, which are when people buy those reviews. Definitely don't go down that road. I know it's tempting, but they will catch you. They're getting more and more. I'm just writing down some more names. No worries, guys. Amazon will catch up to you if you're doing that. And, you know, the penalties can range from, you know, the listing being pulled down to, you know, losing your ability to even hold a Seller Central account for the future. So, yeah, don't risk that. It's not worth it. And also people, you know, if they weren't born yesterday, you can smell a dodgy review from a mile away. I know when I'm shopping online, there's some that are really clearly they're not real, they're not authentic. You can tell. So personally, I'd rather purchase a product from somebody who maybe has 20 real reviews than somebody who has 2,000 that I just can't trust. So it's something to keep in mind. Julie's just asked a question. Can we as sellers click the helpful button? Yes, we can. We can definitely. But it's like any sort of voting system. The more people who vote that it's helpful, the better. So, you know, that's where you might, you know, just reach out to somebody and say, hey, can you just click it on the helpful button, help me move it up a little bit. So, yeah, something to keep in mind there. David, oh, thank you. Can you really just pick a product someone else is already selling, source it and sell it yourself? So with that, David, there's two things that come to mind. Firstly, I wouldn't recommend it because then really all you're competing on is price. The only difference between you and your competitor is who's selling it for the cheapest. It's a race to the bottom. You're not creating long-term value from that. Sometimes just tweaking it a little bit, you know, putting your own brand name on there. Maybe you change a color or a fabric or even the way it's bundled. You know, they're small changes, but it can really make a big difference. And then you're creating a brand, you're creating an asset, you know, something that you can potentially sell down the track. If people, you know, with products and things like that, you get into the world of patents. Of course, if someone owns a patent over a product, you can't copy it. But, you know, there's so many different little variations and things out there. I would highly suggest getting creative with, if you found a product you like, how can you make it better? What's something small that would really move the needle? And it doesn't need to be huge. So, Fu, is there any more ways to boost reviews over and on top of the review automator? Because you have not, yeah. So the frustrating thing is, and the stats are, if only 10% of people on average are leaving reviews, that means you need to sell 100 units roughly to get 10 reviews. And in launch stage, that can feel like a lifetime. It can be super frustrating. So without, engaging those black hat tactics, it is a time game. Maybe have a look at the Vine program. Maybe that's something that you can do. It depends on your product. Like I said, they can be a little bit more tougher, but if you've got a good product, that would be my suggestion, putting it out there on Vine to get those extra reviews. Or if you've got, a following on social media or something like that, that you can really leverage that, get people aware of your product. Don't be afraid to ask for reviews. People are usually, if they're your fans, very happy to leave a review. So Brian's just asked if I can talk a little bit more about the email automator process. So ZonGuru's got two tools. I might actually jump in and show you what they look like. One is the review automator, which is what I was talking about before. And the other one is actually called email automator. They're both found under the customer engagement menu here. So review automator, all you need to do is click that button on, and that is it. That's how easy it is. Whereas email automator, and once that's switched on, I've just got a little bit too far ahead of myself, it will give you a list of all your orders and when the review request is scheduled to go, if it's sent, when it was sent, and it will also show you a graph of the reviews as they're coming in. I can't show you it on this one because it's our demo account, so it's actually not a real seller account. But if I switch over to email automator, this is the second option that you've got. So email automator is much more flexible in terms of you get to decide the messaging. Remember, review automator is the standard Amazon format, completely terms of service compliant. It takes all the guesswork away from that. Whereas email automator, you can actually, if I go into settings, I actually have full control over how I ask. So this is just an example, just checking about your recent purchase. If you could share your honest feedback here. I could add in anything else I wanted. I can put in pictures and attachments and links. You have to be super careful when you're using this that you stay terms of service compliant. And that changes all the time. So definitely go check that out on the Amazon. All you need to do is, do that quick search to Amazon terms of service and you'll get that all there. The benefit of using this tool is that you can specify different messages to fire for different marketplaces. So if you're selling in the US, Australia, and the UK, you could have a different message firing to each marketplace in their own terminology. So maybe if you were selling something to do with barbecues in Australia, it would obviously be called that. US, you could have, how did you find your recent grill, or whatever it might be. You can get the terminology right. And you've also got the option to say when the message will be sent. And, you've got a little bit more control on this one, but sometimes control with that, comes extra responsibility. You need to make sure that you're getting 100% compliant with terms of service. And once it's been sent, you can see all your sent emails here, any that are pending to go. You've also got things like your open rate stats, so you can see which campaigns are actually delivering, which ones are maybe just being brushed over. Even the email subject line, you've got full control over. Obviously, you want something catchy. Keep it in mind, you can't be persuasive. You can't incentivize anyone to leave a good review. All things to keep in mind, but then, there are your stats there. So hopefully that, if you've got any other questions on that one, just let me know. But for me, I 100% rely on Review Automator. At this stage, I'm not using Email Automator, but it definitely has its place. It's great, if you have, although Amazon has changed this now, if you've got, product warranties, manuals, things like that, you can attach it here, which is super cool. You can also, Amazon's recently announced that you can actually attach that to your listing page as well. So that's fresh off the press, something to keep in mind. So I'll stop sharing. I'll move this back. But if there's any other questions, just let me know, or where you are in your journey. Has anyone gone through a launch recently? How are you going about gathering your reviews? A pain point of mine is that people can leave star ratings without a written review. So if somebody leaves a 3-star rating but no comment, it's very hard to work out, how can I improve? Where did it go wrong? You're basically left with a star rating and nothing else. You can't even see the seller's name. The buyer's name. That to me is where it gets really tricky, and that's where the numbers game comes in. You really want a high number of positive reviews that are going to balance those out. So Terence has just asked, will there be a webinar on sourcing and niche finding using ZonGuru? Absolutely. I know we haven't done one of those for a while. We did do so many in a row that we've tried to change things up a little bit. And I might get in trouble for saying this, but we're working on a very big event at the moment. And it's all going to be about product researching and sourcing in emerging markets. Of course, that can be applied across the board. You can use that information in the US, you can use it anywhere. That will be out very early June, so 1 month from now. In the meantime, if you're really keen to get stuck into your product researching and need a little bit of a helping hand, we have our Quick Start Challenge. So it's a 13-day challenge where we break down into manageable steps each day what you need to do to find a product, to validate that product, and even source that product. If that's something that you're interested in, I'll just drop the link in the chat box. That we've had really great feedback from that challenge. And it's great for anybody who's, they're just frustrated. They're not quite sure what the next steps are. Let's find that. It's called the Quick Start Challenge. Sorry, my computer is not cooperating. There we go. So anyone who's interested, go and check that out. It's really easy to use, and the content is evergreen. So, if you don't get to a day, it's yours forever to go back and check it out. So that's there for anybody who might find it useful. Because, finding that right product, finding that product at the start can clear up so many headaches down the track. So, finding one that doesn't have those moving parts, that is small and lightweight, that isn't breakable, that has a healthy profit margin, ticks all those boxes, can save you so much heartache down the track when you're dealing with negative reviews because a product broke, or, that it's bulky and costing you so much in storage costs, or there's so many things there, so many things. And, I'd always recommend finding a product that resonates with you, something that you know about, because, there's going to be challenges, those rough days. And if you're passionate about your product, that niche that you're in, it will keep you going. It's something that you personally are really fired up about. You're going to want to speak to people about it. You're going to know what language people are using. So Julie's just said, I was selling my product nicely, congratulations, but ran out of stock and now just restocked, but in a different color, but sales are very slow. Yes. So Julie, Amazon is frustrating. That's happened to me a couple of times. Obviously, managing your stock levels can be a challenge in itself. And Amazon tends to, you restock, you're expecting the same sales numbers that you had before, and it doesn't happen, and it's heartbreaking. One thing I would be interested to know is how long have you been back in stock for? Because what can happen is that you send your products to one of the FBA warehouses, and then it can take them a week or two to actually filter that out to all the warehouses around. And if you're having a look at your listing, it's available for sale, but the delivery date is sometimes a week or 2 weeks in the future. And of course, everybody right now, they want stuff now, they want it today, they want it tomorrow. They're not willing to wait the couple of weeks. So if you've only just come back into stock, that might be the reason why. Otherwise, it's getting back into that rankings game. Putting your PPC campaign back on, which it looks like you've done. It's really chipping away at those keywords again. Maybe find some of those long tail keywords. Have a look to see if there's any competitors that have popped up in the meantime that may be stealing some of that action. It's really going back to a grassroots level and saying, okay, what keywords am I going to target? I'm going to put that in my listing, run my PPC campaigns, monitor that on a weekly basis, keep tweaking it, and I promise those sales will slowly start to scale back up to where you were, or if not better. It is frustrating though, and I'm in that, I've just sold out and I've got a couple of weeks gap. I didn't time it quite right, and I'm a little bit worried about trying to rank again, because you experience that high of selling well, you're ranking, everything's going great, almost too good because you go out of stock, and then you got to get back on that wagon. But yeah, hopefully that helps. If you've got those good reviews under your belt, it definitely works to your advantage. It sounds like you're doing everything right. I just checked that time frame. Yeah, so any other questions that I can help with? Otherwise, the next training topic next week, John's hosting it. It will be US Friday afternoon, Australia Saturday morning, and he is diving into 5, and this is an interesting one, 5, a handful of categories that are really good to look at right now in those emerging markets. Which ones are delivering the goods? They are emerging markets, but there's some that are earning super healthy profit potential now that is more than enough to, really scale a business, live a great lifestyle from. He's going to be diving into those. So, yeah, no worries. Thank you. Thank you, guys. Yeah, and any questions in the meantime, just head over to support. We're always there, and it's been an absolute pleasure. So I'm going to sign off now, but wish you guys all the best. And yeah, we're always here for you. Okay, thanks.